Gilma, she is just so thankful her little girl is alive. An incredible story here. Would essentially ban guns in a number of areas that are designated as sensitive areas, and one of them is right where I'm standing. Protests continue nationwide after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. It has gone viral so many times over the last 20 years, but for 2 decades, nobody knew who the woman being rescued was. I want to walk you through essentially dueling protests here that are separated by this line of police officers right outside of the Pennsylvania Convention Center. And of course, inside that convention center is where the entire nation right now is watching. According to the driver, he was working for Uber. He comes into the intersection when he's hit. Then take a look at this. This is a piece of the car. Well, the inspiration for what you read on the page. Spears was granted a major victory today in court, hiring a federal prosecutor in her bid to end the conservatorship. And that's when investigators say in a back bedroom, the suspect pulled out a gun and ambushed those 2 police officers. As you come down here again, down 7th Avenue, you can get a sense of just how many people are here trying to figure out what exactly happened. For so many families tonight, this was about putting an end to a very dark chapter that lasted nearly 2 years. They're making their way here down through Fort Greene. They are holding signs saying Black Lives Matter. This is the siding of a nearby building. Take a look, Gilma, at all of the debris here. Then out of nowhere, just went smashing into the windows here at this Starbucks on Lafayette. You can see that crews right now are working to repair a lot of that damage. At this point, I'm up to my knee, and it goes much, much higher. And Stefan, minutes ago, the city confirming to us that they believe that there had been illegal work without the proper permitting done on the building behind us here. I want you to take a look at the pieces of concrete that came falling down. Then walk with me down this street. The car then is hit by another car, eventually flips and lands right on top of this parked car. Not just talking about up to a foot of snow. This could be underwater. Let me show you the best line of defense. And it was right here that he saw a tweet that caught his attention. Most of them spray painted. The photos are all part of an ongoing project. The idea, the Magic Mania overtaking New York City. It all happened right behind us. A white Volvo was stopped at a red light. The driver says out of nowhere, a car crashes into them, lands on top of them. As the firefighter goes to rescue one of the drivers trapped, he became pinned under the car as it fell on top of him. Dramatic cell phone video capturing the heart-stopping moment. A firefighter trying to rescue a trapped driver crushed underneath a BMW that fell right on top of him.
This man literally could have lost his life, crushed by a car.
Witnesses rushed to the scene, holding the SUV upright so the injured firefighter and the driver could escape.
All of a sudden, all the bystanders that were around, we just sprang into action and started pushing the car up. Pushing.
I feel like, New Yorkers, we rally when we need to, as much as we tend to be very isolated and think this is our own world. I think when you see someone in tragedy, we come to their aid.
That firefighter, now identified by the FDNY as Ryan Warnock. Just a few days ago, he helped rescue victims thrown into the Hudson River after this boat overturned.
Conditions were, it was windy, and the conditions were, the ocean was pretty stirred up.
Tonight, we know he has a serious injury to his leg. He was rushed to Bellevue Hospital.
I mean, he's a hero, 100%. 100%, he's a hero.
This is the BMW that landed on top of that firefighter's leg. Right before that happened, it was involved in another car accident. That BMW actually ended up on top of this white Volvo. You can see all of the damage done to the car here. The question now, how did this happen?
I thought it was like an explosion. I didn't know what it was.
Randy Wan was sitting in the passenger seat of this mangled Volvo. Her husband was behind the wheel.
My wife and I were stopped at the light, and all of a sudden we just felt this impact, and we saw a car drive up on the side of our vehicle.
My husband and I looked at each other, and we looked out the side window, and the SUV was on the back of our car, sticking up.
One terrifying accident leading to a second. Tonight, those involved thankful everyone survived.
It's a miracle that both of us were not hurt at all. We walked out without a scratch.
Rana, truly remarkable. They were not injured, nor was the driver in that black BMW. In fact, he remained on scene for a good part of the afternoon. The investigation, of course, continuing. How did that car end up on top of the other car? So many questions still unanswered, but perhaps chief among them is how is that firefighter doing? We know he has a serious injury to his leg. We have learned, though, Rana, he is now stabilized. Live tonight in Hell's Kitchen, I'm Adam Harding, News 4, New York.
It's also been the subject of a 20-year mystery until now. Here's News 4's Adam Harding.
It was here.
It's a pretty sad day. That's why everybody needs to remember it.
Everything changed.
Look at this. It's very overwhelming.
20 years ago.
Sad. Very sad.
The names of those we lost.
It's all the names.
Etched into our memories.
Let's see if we could find her name.
Stories like Chris Amoroso's.
What happened here is, it's a tragedy.
I love the flowers.
He left behind a baby girl.
When'd you get married?
November 26, 1999.
And a wife, Jamie.
We got married not too far from here.
He was a Port Authority police officer.
How proud was he when he got the job?
He loved it.
Assigned to work at the World Trade Center.
What do you remember about the morning of September 11?
It was a beautiful day. I remember he left and he said, I'm working at the World Trade Center. And I said, okay, just be careful. And he's like, he goes, what's going to happen?
The horrors of that day may never go away.
I knew when the second tower fell, I had like a feeling that it wasn't going to be good. I just knew.
But in her husband's final moments, she was able to see just how fearless he truly was. A single photo.
It was given to me.
Of the moment he saved a woman's life before he ran back into the burning towers.
It was good and bad. We have the proof. He was a hero. He saved this woman.
What does that say about your husband?
I'm not shocked. But he was just a good guy. He was a hero.
But for 2 decades, Jamie waited to hear from her, then began questioning if the woman ever made it out alive.
As time went on, I started to think maybe he didn't save her or get her far enough, because we had never found her or had anybody had ever spoken to her.
It was Todd Mazel who snapped that haunting picture while on assignment for the Daily News. He keeps it boxed up in storage, out of sight.
Yeah, here it is.
But never out of mind.
What is it about this photo that stays with you?
The selflessness.
He spends most of his time now in rural Massachusetts.
Come on.
Life today is much quieter.
This is a 9/11 camera.
But he'll never forget what he saw firsthand.
I know every detail. I remember it all like it was yesterday.
Through the lens of his camera.
That was one of the first police officers that I saw. She was in distress, and Chris was determined to help her. It was like the photo brought him back to life. For that moment, they were able to see Chris as the hero that he was. I took 2 frames, and then I lost them.
He's always wondered, whatever happened to her?
We never found her. We don't know who she is. To this day, we never found out.
Until now.
I remember his face because he was my angel.
We turned to social media, searching for a name, an identity, any clue. And after reading countless tributes, we found a post online from a man who says the mystery woman is his mother, Suman Damisha.
He said, just ma'am, relax. We are here to help.
She spoke with us from her home in India.
I wish the best for his family, for his loved ones.
She confirms that's her in Officer Amoroso's arms. She was working in the second tower.
If he wasn't there, there is no way I could have made.
And is ready to open up about that harrowing moment.
Never got to say thank you to them. I really owe my life to them.
Each 9/11, her family says they light candles to celebrate what they call her second birth.
When I came down, I fell. If I wasn't going to come up, there was no way I could be saved. There was no way I could be alive today. What I felt bad was because I have lived my life and he was still so young.
She was given a chance to keep living. She's now a grandma.
He's always on my mind because he was the one who brought me out of that mess.
She did have a message that she wanted to share with you.
We shared our conversation with Jamie.
Tell her that he had such a wonderful husband. And I'm alive just because of him.
Wait a second. I'm sorry. Wait a second. I can't believe she's alive. I can't believe she has the same face.
She finally got to hear from the woman.
She's the last person with him.
She was so desperate to find.
There's reasons. He went in with a purpose. That was to save as many people as possible. The fact that I get to hear somebody say it.
And after 20 years,
Hi, Suman, how are you?
the two connected.
I cannot believe I am looking at you. I cannot believe this. You look exactly the same. If I walked past you on the street, I would have known who you are because I've looked at that picture so many times. Yes, you look exactly the same.
A long overdue meeting.
And I'm glad he did his job that day. This way you could be with your family.
Full of comfort.
He was a brave soul, very brave soul.
Yeah.
And closure.
I have a personal question.
Sure.
Did he seem scared?
You know, he wasn't scared, but I was scared.
Healing.
Life goes on. Life goes on.
A story.
I want my daughter to meet you.
Me too. I would love to meet her.
No longer untold.
Chapter's closed, I guess. Looking forward to starting new things.
Yes, it's time.
It's time. It is.
A new memory.
Amazing. This is amazing. My mind is blown.
Born out of tragedy.
I will be in touch.
Definitely.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
See you soon. Oh my God. She's amazing.
I'm Adam Harding, News 4, New York.
They even got Superman?
Heroes.
Since I'm a big Batman fan, I wanted to take a look at what they have.
They're all around us.
Aquaman? I like the blonde one.
That's the Aquaman that you're used to from like all those old cartoons.
From the panels of a comic book.
Yeah, I like the artwork. It's really cool. There's a lot of stuff going on in here.
To a curious 11-year-old child.
Okay, check this out. Check this out.
In the eyes of his father.
Jake now is 11 years old.
Fist bump!
And he's this starry-eyed, bright-eyed kid. It reminds me a lot of myself.
For his entire life, Led Bradshaw has been drawing.
It was always my escape.
It is all he's ever known.
I remember telling my teacher that all I want to do was either work for Disney, work for Marvel, work for DC. It didn't matter.
His passion eventually became his career.
Tag, you're it.
And his son Jake,
just to get an idea of what it would look like,
soon became his inspiration.
Like Jake really is like the spitting image of me. All right, we'll try this process first.
For his most treasured creation yet.
I'm spying on my daddy.
When Jake was just 3 years old, doctors detected the early signs of autism.
I didn't know anything about autism. I had no idea what it is. I'm Googling everything that I could find about autism spectrum disorder, and that's when I found art therapy exercises, and I was like, hey, this is something I can do.
So he did what he's always done.
I started to incorporate art into his everyday routine.
Only this time, he was drawing up plans to help teach his son.
Art therapy is great for children on the autism spectrum. Instead of using other people's art therapy lessons, let me see if I could create my own. I went to comic books. I figured, what if I took the elements of a comic book,
Do you know who that is?
broke it down into an art lesson, and used that to teach Jake?
What he soon realized was the origin story he was helping create for a hero right in front of him.
You helped create the comic, right?
Well, yeah.
Together, this father-son super team sketched out plans for their very own comic book.
I mean this.
Awesome!
Jake Jetpulse.
So you were able to turn your son into Jake Jetpulse, the superhero.
Right. Jake Jetpulse, because we were thinking as a character on the autism spectrum, and spectrum is like light, the powers are like light-based.
So what makes this comic so special? Well, the inspiration for what you read on the page is drawn from real-life experiences. Of course, there is that superhero twist.
You see this button here, Jake? I forgot to draw his hands. Okay.
They even self-published 6 issues in There Is No Slowing Down.
Has he responded well to the comic?
The cool part is like hearing him when he says that he's his own hero, that makes me feel good. When other kids started to receive him as like a hero, the kids in his class started enjoying the books. I think that's what really helped him come out of his shell.
To me, I have an inner hero. I showed them who I really was.
And that's a superhero.
I'm taking on the next challenge.
Your hope is showing people that anyone can be a superhero.
Exactly. And that's what I want to do is like give a hero to everyone.
So are you going for it? That's what you're going to get? I'm making sure that he spends his money wisely.
Someday they hope to find their work on store shelves.
And I just heard what you were doing and I just wanted to come and introduce myself.
Thank you.
So much.
For now, they're happy to share Jake Jetpulse's next adventure.
Yes, dude.
It's a pleasure.
With anyone interested in listening and learning.
Thank you, sir, very much.
No problem, young man.
In Brooklyn.
Didn't I tell you it was going to be a good day?
Yep, we're gonna have fun.
All right.
Bye.
I'm Adam Harding, News 4, New York.